The Hawks return to practice. Stanislav Berezhnoy is suspended, and the Hawks might be going to Europe. Other than that, slow news day. Join us next on CHGO Blackhawks. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks podcast live from the Xfinity Loft. We are presented by Bet365. Download the app. Use our code CHGO365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. At Bet365. Hope you're having a great day. I'm Jay Zawaski. That's Mario Tirabassi. Chloe Thiel is here running the show. As always, do us a favor. As always, hit that like button on the YouTube page. Make sure you are subscribed. And if you're listening on the podcast later, follow, subscribe, turn on those notifications so you know as soon as a fresh episode drops in your feed, especially this week as we've got some crazy show times and Olympic stuff going on. We're going to be kind of all over the map this week, so those notifications will let you know when the new episode is there. We've got a lot to get to today. Rockford goalie Stanislav Berezhnoy has been suspended 20 games for violating the substance abuse policy. So we'll get to that. We have a statement from Kyle Davidson and from Mark Bernard, the IceHogs GM. Season ticket holders today received a letter saying that their team is going to have a what's the term again? A yet to be announced league special event.
League special event.
And they're back in practice.
That takes away one of their now 42 home games. That was a reminder to me that, oh, yeah, we're now going to have 84 games to talk about
100%.
Starting next season rather than the 82 that we've all come to love and enjoy. So 2 more games to care about and do post games of.
Well,
and that's fine, but it will only be 41 games at the United Center.
Yes, and the Hawks are back at practice today, but we are going to start with this rumored we're kind of just based on you already have the Stadium Series defined, you already have the Winter Classic defined. It feels like they're going to be part of the Global Series.
It does
to start the season,
and they've been there before. But it was opening of the 09-10 season. They went to Finland.
You know who scored the first goal?
Ruutu, right?
Alex Nylander.
Alex Nylander.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the most recent one, the one against the Flyers.
Yeah, that was in Prague.
Yeah, that was Prague. That's right.
In Czechia.
Yeah.
That was 2019, right?
Yeah.
Start of the 19th season.
I think so. God,
that would be the start
like
of the. That was the start of the 1920 season, because Carlton was the coach, and he didn't start the 18th season as the head coach. So yeah, it was 2019. So yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense if they're not saying like it's the Stadium Series, or it's the Winter Classic, which, please, we need to be done with those for a while.
We are good.
That they're gonna go, probably be part of the Global Series, which will be really exciting to see where that ends up happening. The speculation of locations is rampant. I've seen the NHL get excited about their footprint in Australia recently, which that would be wild if the Blackhawks played in Australia.
Yeah, that would be crazy. That's a long flight.
That's multiple flights.
Yeah.
They've done Finland, they've done Sweden. The NHL has Finland, Sweden, Czechia. They've done Switzerland. They've done Germany, England. They've played a game in. So you could go back to any of those venues, and I think it would be welcomed by a lot of people overseas to be able to see those players. You got Teuvo on the team. You're likely to have Frandell on the team.
Yeah.
So a Finland and or Sweden location would make a lot of sense. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see what'll happen.
Well, the good news about this, and Lord Hostess has put on the tinfoil hat to be announced The game will be played in Sweden after the Hawks land Stenberg and have him and Frondell with Bedard in front of their new home country. Will it into existence?
Hey,
the problem
you
is
never know.
This will be announced in March. We'll know the location before the draft. So I like your idea, and I'm here for all of that. But last year, the Global Series was announced like March 16th or something. So we'll know before the draft happens.
Yeah. Well, far be it from the league to plan a couple events in sequence ahead of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, again, like it'll be really interesting to see how they line it up. I'm trying to think who else is. Burakovsky will be on the team next year in theory, so that's another Swedish guy.
You can get Lucas Reichel back, go back to Germany.
You could.
He's available, I hear.
If you wanted to.
The worst day in the history of the Hawks, I've been told.
Who was I thinking of? Soderblom's Swedish too. I mean, with those guys, I feel like going to Sweden kind of makes sense.
There's usually some sort of hook.
Yeah, there's some sort of hook or connection that they can make.
Go to Prague and just have Hossa just be the host of the event.
I'd
play Ottawa, play the Red Wings, play one of his former teams, play the Atlanta Thrashers.
Well, Prague's in Czechia, so they need to go to Slovakia somewhere. They can go to his hometown.
Wait, what is this? Does he live in? I'm out of it.
He lives in Trenčín, Slovakia.
That's where he's from.
Yeah,
that's right.
You can go there. That's fine.
They have not been to Slovakia yet.
Not that I know of. That's where they played the Hossa retirement Palooza game, where all the former Blackhawks and all that play. It was in Trenčín. So
I got my hat from that game.
You could go there. They've hosted a big game before. I think that would be really cool. I mean, I think it's fun to have your team be involved in events like this, as much as we lament the outdoor games because of how many they've played in and how poor their record is in the games. It still means something that your team is involved in them. So as long as it's not the Winter Classic
or a stadium series,
which we don't need to do again,
we're good
for a while.
Just we can punt on.
Fine.
Yes,
yeah.
We can punt on
where
outdoor
would they
games
even play
in Chicago.
It? Like, if it was, let's say it's not Winter Classic, it's Stadium Series. Where do they go?
Rate Field.
All right. You sell that?
That's
not a slight to the White Sox. It's just
is.
like, what is the you gotta. If you're putting Chicago back in an outdoor stadium, you gotta do something unique, right?
Yeah.
And
you've done Notre Dame. You've done.
It's no slight to the White Sox fans.
Something
but like
Milwaukee?
the Rate Field doesn't really.
Lambeau.
You could play the Wild.
I don't think
Green Bay.
I don't think the Hawks can convince Wisconsin fans to become Hawks fans, especially playing in Lambeau.
I'm sitting right here.
No, you can't do that. You're from Illinois, though.
No, I'm not.
You live here now.
I live here now.
And you're a Cowboys fan.
No,
because
I haven't been for many years. No, I mean I grew up on the Illinois-Wisconsin border, but on the Wisconsin side.
Oh. Well,
I was a Blackhawks fan living and working in Milwaukee for a number of years.
I think Milwaukee you can convince, but Green Bay, that's not going to fly. I don't think it'd be cool. I'd love to see a game at game at Lambeau.
If you did, they've done college games outdoors at Lambeau. I mean, I think you could do something now. Having a Chicago team play at Lambeau Field as the home team, I don't think would make a lot of sense, and I think that would cause a chasm in the universe where Chicago team is at home at Lambeau Field.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
That would be weird. The Chicago team has had a home game in Miller Park. That happened.
Yeah.
No hitter. Or no, not a home game.
I think it was because it was an Astros home game.
Didn't the Cubs play?
They played the Astros there.
They played the Astros
because of the.
That's what it was.
I forget what the natural disaster was. I forget, but it was an Astros home game technically.
Yeah.
But it was a Cubs crowd, as most games in Milwaukee are. And Carlson Brunner threw no hitter against the Astros.
This is all to get to the point that Lord Hossa is making. Put it in Indiana where the new Bears Stadium will be.
Hell yeah, 20-minute drive for me.
Hey,
I'm in.
It's going to be an outdoor game. You don't necessarily need a stadium built. Just put some grandstands at Arlington Park and just say, here's a flat surface of ice and some makeshift stands. They did it for the Royal Rumble.
Sure.
Do it at Arlington Heights.
Well,
Just
let's
build a stadium and play it for a one-time event.
Well, we have an opportunity here.
Why not?
It's an opportunity for us to take the temp, presented by Four Seasons, your trusted local experts for heating, air conditioning, plumbing, sewer, and electric. They've been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com. If we're talking about Europe, we're talking about overseas, we're talking about the global series, give me 3 cities you would prioritize. If we're covering it, which we don't know yet, we're trying.
Hey,
what would you pick? What would be your top 3?
I would love to go anywhere. Switzerland always looks beautiful when they have the Spengler Cup there.
Yeah.
In Davos, I believe, is where that's located. I'd love to go there. We were just talking about making Anton Frondel feel at home in Chicago yesterday. So to go to Sweden would be awesome. That's like a bucket list trip that I want to take at some point. Going to the UK would be interesting. It's another place I want to go. I would like to, if the Global Series is usually start of the season, is it not?
Yeah, starts season. Yep.
So you're talking about October in the UK. Could I play golf out there? Maybe.
Just gotta walk, no carts.
Yeah. That's what I would say. I would say a location in the UK, Switzerland, up in the Alps, or Sweden. I think would be awesome.
I've got Bern on mine. I'd love to go there. Prague for sure. London, I would like to go to, and Holly agrees. I don't know why Holly wants to be in London. It's just kind of random. But that would be a lot of fun. Switzerland, though, yeah.
I would be down for that.
It'd be cooler if it was in the winter, so you could get all the snow and get that atmosphere.
I mean, it's the Alps. Like, they get snow up in the mountains all the time, right?
Yes.
Yes, that's how I perceive the Alps to be.
Yes, that is correct. But just I always imagine like little European towns like that snow covered. Mm-hmm. I don't know why that's just how I think of it. Like Cortina, when you watch all the Olympic stuff, that looks fake. Yeah, it's just so pretty, and I know a lot of it is it's like lit for the event and all that, but it just looks magical there. I would love to go there. Yeah. Honestly, there's nowhere in Europe I would be like, I'm good. I've been to Dublin twice, so that would probably be my last pick, but I sure enjoy the hell out of Dublin if I went back.
Yeah. I mean, it would be, anywhere is pretty good with me. I was able to go to Italy in 2012 with family. 2 weeks in Italy, it was awesome. Would love to go back. So hey, if they're seeing how the Olympics are going in Italy, maybe they go back to Italy and say, here's get an actual NHL sized rink. Get yourself together and we'll go out there.
They'll whip it together 2 weeks before the event, just like they did for the Olympics.
Sure.
Windy City Hockey says, watch it be in Milano at the Olympics ice. They gotta fix the dimensions, but
yeah.
I seriously, there's really no. Australia's a little bit. That's really far.
It's really
and if
far,
we were to travel there,
I would love to go to Australia.
Sure,
I've watched so much Bluey that I need to go to Australia at some point in my life, just to
All right, if
see
it's
all the sights and sounds.
It's a 21-hour flight to Sydney.
It's not a straight shot though.
Well, I'm looking at flight times. It's a 21.
There's got to. You have to.
Sure,
go from
but you're in
Chicago
an airplane for
LA.
21 hours.
Yeah, you just throw on a couple movies and you're fine.
But we're probably, if we do go, we're there for probably 2 or 3 days, and then we're if I'm flying for 21 hours, I need at least a week.
Talk to Jake
before I'm getting back on a plane for 21 more hours. That would be brutal. I wouldn't complain.
I'd love to go to Australia,
but it would be my lowest choice on the. I'd love to go to Australia under a different context, not a 3-day trip.
I would do it. That's less time in Australia for their crazy animals to try and kill you.
That's true.
You don't need a spider the size of your face showing up in your hotel room.
Whether we go or not, we don't have to wait as long for the regular season as 30 other fan bases do, which is nice.
Yeah, because it would start early.
And the preseason has been shortened to a maximum of 4 games. That's the max the league will allow now with the 84-game season.
Yeah, you're adding 2 games.
So they had 6 last year.
Yeah, it's
too many.
It's too many. You can figure out who you want on your team in 4 games. Windy City Hockey, you're on to something there. CHGO takeover for the Global Series. If the Bears can travel to London with how many people went on that trip? 150 or whatever it was?
A lot. Yes.
We could take a couple people to Europe too. So
look, I'm down for any of it. We've already talked to our sales guy, Jim, who is occasionally in the chat. So if you see him in here again, bully him and remind him that we're just months away from this trip. So we need to make it happen. Do we have a super chat?
A Mexico game would be interesting.
Fun. That'd be awesome.
That would be interesting, as John says. I would go.
Yeah. And Skate Salem, a $5 super chat, says, "Can we get a shout out to the women's USA hockey team? Kendall is technically a Blackhawk." That's true.
That is true. Kendall Coyne Schofield is part of the development staff with the Blackhawks, and her and Team USA have been on a tear through the Olympics, which has been just awesome to watch. Only allowed 1 goal in, I think it was the first game against Czechia.
Yeah.
They took it personally. And they've got record-breaking shutout streaks going on right now. I think her name, Erin Frankel, I believe is the goalie, is just been literally a brick wall. And yeah, I mean, I find it hard for anyone to, and they'll match up with Canada again in the gold medal game. The way the Team USA has been playing, like that is how that's how you have to play when it comes to the Olympics. Is every game is 100%. Every game matters.
Yep.
You can't take any games off. If there's ever a team that could say like, take a game off, we just step on the ice and we're gonna win, it's a Team USA team like this one with the women's side, and they haven't taken it that way, and it's been awesome to watch. So their gold medal game, I believe, is Thursday.
Yeah.
Right. So that'll be one to watch for sure.
And a heads up, by the way, I will be a little bit critical here. They've not done a great job promoting it, but the PWHL is back in Rosemont, March 25th. That's a Wednesday night from 7 to 10:30. It is New York versus Seattle. Mm-hmm. So another opportunity to go support the PWHL. I think they dropped the ball for the last takeover because I work in hockey. I talk about it every day and didn't see an ad for it until like the day before or very shortly before. So I wasn't able to go. I got my tickets immediately when I saw this one. So Wednesday the 25th, Allstate Arena, Seattle and New York, PWHL. They'll be there.
I went to the one that was earlier this year when Minnesota and Ottawa played. Took my wife and my daughter with. It was an awesome time. I didn't really know the context of that much about like the takeover and the series that they do where they kind of travel around. But apparently it was like the lowest turnout that they've had for one. And I was surprised because I was like, wow, this is like the Rosemont was like the lower bowl and then up into the second level was all full. It was a good atmosphere. It was a good game. So yeah, go out, see those teams play. I know Chicago is a market that I'm sure that they would want to tap into at some point. So if you show out and show up for the women's league, then in short time you might be able to see a professional women's league play in Chicago.
That would be awesome. All right, we got to hit the break zone. We are very late. Hit that like button. We're back in 2 minutes on CHGO Blackhawks. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365, and new customers now get $200 in bonus bets when they bet 5, win or lose, and check out Bet365's NHL early payout offer. You're a winner if your team gains a 3-goal lead with an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections marked as winners. So download the app and use our code CHGO365 when you sign up. Playoff season's here, and new customers now get $200 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. So sign up with the code CHGO365, deposit $10, place a bet for 5 to get $200 in bonus bets, win or lose, and use those bonuses on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. You must be 21 plus to play. If you or somebody you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER, and this offer is in-app only.
Whether it's on the field or in your financial life, the best teams win by delivering excellence at every level. At Old National Bank, they believe every play matters. From everyday checking to long-term planning and commercial banking, their team is there to build momentum and help you move the ball forward. It all starts with a plan tailored for you by professionals you trust. From simple tasks to bigger financial moments, you can count on Old National Bank to coordinate your needs with steady, knowledgeable guidance that brings clarity and confidence with each step. It is a partnership designed to help you feel supported not just today, but well into the future. So whether you're celebrating a win, rebuilding after a tough loss, or gearing up for whatever comes next, Old National Bank has your back with tools, insights, and an expert crew that's always in your corner. Old National Bank, member FDIC, where relationships and results matter.
All right, we are back on CHGO Blackhawks. If you've not done it yet, please hit that like button for us. We'd appreciate that big time. A little bit of news out of Rockford today. Before we get to that, you should know starting Thursday at the ALLCITY store, 30% off site-wide clear-out sale. So set a reminder. This starts on Thursday. 30% off. Stock up in time for baseball season. Get some Hawk stuff for the end of hockey season. We got a couple new designs. There's always new Bear stuff coming out, so jump on this sale. 30% off starts Thursday through Sunday. So mark your calendars, set alarm, whatever you need to do, but our big sale starts on Thursday. All right, the news today, Stanislav Berezhnoy, the Rockford IceHogs goaltender, is suspended 20 games for violating the substance abuse and performance-enhancing program. Here is a statement from Hawks GM Kyle Davidson. He says, while Stanislav did not knowingly take a prohibited substance, we believe his positive test is a result of a supplement he was consuming at the time. Stanislav has taken full responsibility for the situation, and the organization praises him for the maturity and accountability he has shown. The Blackhawks organization fully supports Stanislav and knows he will use this as an opportunity to grow as he continues his development. IceHogs GM Mark Bernard also spoke today to reporters in Rockford, so let's hear what he had to say real quick.
Well, I want to first start off by saying that the AHL has made a decision today. Our goaltender Stanislav Berezhnoy has been suspended for 20 games for being in violation of the AHL PHPA performance-enhancing substance program. It was an honest mistake by the player. He wasn't trying to cheat, or it was nothing malicious. He was using a supplement or a protein powder that he purchased on his own. It wasn't one of the team supplied ones. And when our team was randomly selected a week and a half ago to get tested, his sample came back positive. So it is what it is right now. We have to move forward. It's disappointing. Because he's a good prospect for us and he's going to miss a lot of time here. But we also have to look at this as we do with everything else here. It's a learning experience, and it's one that he's going to learn from. It's one that our whole team can learn from, that they are responsible for what they put in their bodies, and they have to be very careful. If it's not NSF approved, they can't take it. And again, it was nothing malicious on Stanislav's part. He just made a mistake, and it's unfortunate, but all mistakes have come with consequences, and we fully support the decision of the league, and this won't be appealed in any sort of manner, and he'll serve his 20-game suspension.
All right, that's Mark Bernard, IceHogs GM. Thanks to the IceHogs for use of that video. This seems to be a very common thing around sports, is athletes taking a substance that they weren't aware was in their creatine powder or their post-workout, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
It seems to be anytime you hear about one of these, that seems to be the reason.
Well, I mean, I'll say that the difference I feel like in this situation is that they just kind of owned up that, like, yeah, he took something that he wasn't allowed to, and that it was something outside of the team approved list, which for a guy who is a rookie in a new league, I'm honestly, in a new country.
Yeah.
Like different things that maybe he's used to taking might not be approved, and he just says, "Oh, I ran out of something. I need to fill it with this. I just need, something to hold me over, whatever." Takes something and then gets dinged on a test, rather than, "Oh, well, the thing I always take got contaminated somehow." And no, I could have never have been, whatever.
Yeah.
That we hear from, we heard from just a few weeks ago from Caleb Jones, former friend of the program, of the Blackhawks, where he was just like, "Oh, my substance I was taking contaminated," and blah, blah, blah. At least in this situation, and as Mark Bernard said there in his press conference, they're accepting it. They admit Berezhnoy and the team admits the mistake. They're not appealing anything. They're just going to, live with the lesson learned. And, these guys all take things that are, recovery and all this stuff, but it's all from approved lists, and trainers are usually on top of those things and make that information really, available to those players to know if they're good or not. And it just seems like this is something that might have just slipped through the cracks for Berezhnoy. So it stinks for him because, he's been doing a decent job in the situation that he's been in, backing up Drew Comezzo as a rookie in the AHL. And it's a guy that I think the team's kind of taking a flyer on and see what happens with him. So now, Comezzo will come back. Looks like Owen Flores will be the guy that's going to get the opportunity to back up Comezzo. Because, or with the 20-game suspension, it basically pretty much ends Berezhnoy's season.
That's rough. I don't know what the answer is here for these players. And look, you'd think snap a picture of the back of the bottle or whatever it might be and send it to the trainer and have him approve it. Lord Hosa says, "I work for a local supplement company, and you'd be surprised how many proteins and pre-workout supplements have, quote, banned substances not regulated by the FDA."
I'm not surprised.
No,
there's so much stuff out there. It's crazy.
If I'm in the shoes of these guys right now, I'm saying I'm going to the trainer. I'm saying these are the things I need. I want a lot of protein. I want A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Can you find me something or recommend a few things that are cleared, that are safe, that I can take? Because it feels like when it's left up to the players, because they said like he bought it on his own.
Yeah.
Just probably went to a supplement store and said, "All right, well, great, this is available, so it must be legal," and maybe he didn't do the due diligence. And I think that's probably why they're not fighting it, because he did make the mistake. I think that's got to be the mindset of these guys: is if you need something, ask. If you bought something, bring it to the trainer, hand it to them, and say, "Can I take this?" and keep your receipt.
Yeah. I mean, this would never happen with our friends over at Huel.
Exactly.
I think it's good. I think it's good to go.
Asterisk.
I haven't failed a test with it, so I think we're okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where you just kind of you try and learn from it. And we talked with Mark Bernard last week at the AHL All-Star Classic event, and had conversation with him about just a lot of these young players that go to Rockford and come through the system, like they're learning how to be adults and learn how to be on their own. And there's a lot of not only professional hockey lessons, but life lessons as well that go into, being in professional hockey. So this is something that hopefully Berezhnoy learns from and will remember to anytime you go to the store and buy something off the shelf, you got to double check and make sure things are good to go.
I wonder too, I always think about this. Does if you're new in a country and maybe you don't know the language yet, does the font would that confuse, if you went to Russia, Russia has what looks like the Arabic alphabet, which is what we use for those that don't know. Similar letters, but not all the same. And if you're trying to compare, you're looking at one list here and one list here, I wonder if a font could throw you off of this letter looks different. It looks like a different shape when you're not familiar with it
Maybe.
At all. I don't know.
Maybe.
It'd probably be a bigger problem
I-
going from English if you're in English, because most of the world speaks English to some
Right.
degree.
I would imagine that Berezhnoy has probably had some Duolingo lessons or whatever
Yes.
to read and speak English a little bit. I know that if I were to go to any other country and something was in a different language, I would not be able to read it because I'm not smart like that. I don't know another language. I should. I don't. So for me, I would probably look up some sort of app that translates a picture of text to whatever and try that. But I mean, yeah, I think for these guys, like, you know, they probably have some other outlets that they could use. We know that there's other people who speak that language within the organization with, on the IceHogs. And those teams and the staff and the trainers and all that try and be really accessible and really helpful to these guys. So if there was something that was a question you'd want them to ask, but again, we don't really know the exact situation, but I would imagine if someone had that sort of language barrier, reading, speaking it, that could be an issue.
Oh, it's a tough lesson learned, and like everybody said, it wasn't intentional, but it's probably a mistake he'll never make again, and I would imagine
hope not.
His teammates will be very, very careful about this going forward as well. All right, one more break, and we're back in 2 minutes on CHGO Blackhawks. As a man, are you starting to feel like you have low energy throughout the day? You not have the same motivation or drive. If you're seeing that scale move up and the hair fall out and your muscles tightening up, you might have low testosterone. It's very common as you age and something to be mindful of. So whether it's peak performance or simply becoming a better father, better husband, or better man, Game Day Men's Health wants to support every man's health journey through personalized care tailored to your goals. It's a super easy process. You're in and out in under an hour. Their clinics are family owned. They're locally owned. It's awesome. They've got a high rate of success. Really easy. You're going to feel better and have more energy with testosterone, vitamin supplements, weight loss, and hair loss treatments. Anyone 27 and up can use Game Day. And check out our pal Josh, who lost over 100 pounds in a little over a year using their testosterone replacement therapy. So start your best life with Game Day Men's Health. Check out their locations in Skokie, Naperville, and more. Go to GameDayCHGO.com.
New vehicles are in store at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, and this is your chance to score a great deal at the Auto Show sales event. Head to Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram on Route 12 today to choose from their huge inventories of new Chryslers, Dodges, Jeeps, and Rams vehicles. Right now, you can get 0% financing for 72 months on new Chryslers, Dodges, Jeeps, and Rams, and you can shop over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. With the friendly team of brand experts, the team at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram is there to help you during each step of your car shopping journey, and since they prioritize affordability, you know you won't overpay for the vehicle you need. And Ray's Price Promise lets you shop confidently with no add-ons and no hidden fees. So check out our partner today to shop one of the Chicago area's largest inventories and find the right vehicle for you. Don't miss out on the Auto Show sales event for huge savings on new models. For more information, visit Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram today on Route 12 in Fox Lake or online at raycdjr.com. They've been serving the community since 1963.
All right, we are back here on CHGO Blackhawks, and if you missed it, the Blackhawks are back on the ice today with an optional practice. Here are the guys that care. Ready for the list? Bedard, Nazar, Moore, Green, Burakovsky, Donato, Dickinson, Lafferty, Slaggert, Foligno, Vlasic, Crevier, Levshinov, Murphy, Grzelcyk, and Soderblom. The rest,
I mean, that's pretty much
they don't have it.
right?
They don't have the heart. They don't. Tyler Bertuzzi is missing. Spencer Knight is missing. So, yeah, those guys. Tavo.
Not committed to.
Oh, must have
to the
better
Hawks.
things happening
Yeah.
than an optional? Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. No, the big news, though, jokes aside, Wyatt Kaiser, a little bit of an update from Jeff Blashill. He will not be ready right out of the break, but says he expects him to return this season. So he's not out for the season. The Hawks have 25 games to go. Maybe get a little more official of a word tomorrow when it's a real practice and it's like not an optional and everybody's there. We'll see. They might not even know yet, honestly, how severe it is. Might be something that might take some time. We have no idea. And not a huge surprise, but Connor Bedard will start taking faceoffs again.
Great.
When the games resume next week.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big development because, it was kind of framed as indefinite by Jeff Blashill when he first said, like, Bedard's not doing faceoffs anymore. And, we all knew the shoulder wasn't 100%, but the fact that he's going to get back to the faceoff dot makes it a little bit easier to play his natural position at center. And that just means that he's even healthier than he was when he returned, which is the biggest thing that this team needed coming out of the break was Connor Bedard even closer to or at 100%.
Yeah.
Because the way he was playing when he was healthy fully at the beginning of the year was a guy that was in the conversation for Team Canada for the Olympics. Almost 1.5 per game kind of pace. He was just lighting things up, and the vibes were a lot better. And then they started to go down when he was unavailable, and then of course Nazar got hurt too. So with Bedard coming back and being healthy, that's a big boost for him individually, and then that's going to be even better of a boost for the team coming back to kind of close out these last games. Well,
now the question is, with Kaiser being out for at least a while here, does somebody get called up? Do they just go with what they've got? Maybe it's the time for Korchinski to get an extended look.
Yeah, you could do that. I know they had Renzel up here when Levshinov got scratched, and then he went down to Rockford during the break. You could bring him back up. Or, because Kaiser's a left shot guy, you could bring up Korchinski and give him that extended opportunity a little bit earlier than before the trade deadline. As we all assume that was probably how it's going to play out. But, yeah, I mean, I would be all for that. If Kaiser's going to be out for weeks but still could come back, I'm totally fine with it being Korchinski or Del Mastro. Either one of those guys I would be happy to see and just give them some runway in the NHL, because you need to find out what these guys are going to be down the road. And without playing the NHL, it's hard to get a perfect gauge of that. So if it comes because Kaiser's hurt, that's unfortunate, but that's a break that one of those guys needs to take advantage of.
Both of them are RFAs after this season, so the Hawks control their rights, obviously. I don't think either of them will go anywhere in terms of, walking away or anything like that, of course. But I don't know. I feel like I kind of know what Del Mastro is, and I'm not saying he's fully realized, but I think you can pretty much project, okay, solid bottom pair guy, maybe a middle pair guy in a pinch. I have to just see. I think 25 games is a really nice number for Kevin Korchinski to get in there, because look, you're pretty much certain you're gonna trade Murphy. You might trade Grzelcyk. Yeah, you're going really young that way, but now's the time. I mean, unless you're bringing a veteran back in a trade, which I couldn't possibly imagine are looking to do.
I wouldn't think so, but
no.
I mean, it is. If they were to trade both Murphy and Grzelcyk, your most seasoned defenseman is Alex Vlasic. Yeah. Your average age for defensemen is like 21 years old. But I mean, it's if Kyle Davidson is looking at this trade deadline as like we're trying to open up as many opportunities for young players as possible, you could do it that way, and you could give a right shot player a full-time opportunity and a left shot player a full-time opportunity, and that could be Renzel and Korchinski, or you could be Del Mastro's played on both sides of the defensive group before.
Yeah.
It's not ideal to have an offhand player, but you could try that. Like, you could give those guys all those chances to close out the season, because you're not bringing in, I know we talk about Frondel and maybe Boisvert at the end of the season joining the team once their juniors seasons or overseas seasons are over. There's really no defenseman that you're looking at like that. They don't have anybody that's in the system that is a defensive prospect that's not already in Rockford, basically. So those are the guys that you're looking at. So you want to give him an opportunity? This is the time to do it.
Well, I think you also, with that in mind, what you just said, short of Del Mastro, not a lot of these guys project as NHL players. Tage Harding, is he ever going to play in the NHL?
I mean,
maybe, but
he's had a longer development path, playing the full 4 years in college. He's a rookie this year. Right shot guy. That's the harder side to crack the roster right now with Crevier, Levshinov, and Renzel all in the mix. I wonder what they do with him, but right now, being huge and physical and gritty, we talked about it yesterday. Like the defenseman, I want to see some grit
definitely
to the defensive group. Not saying that Tage Harding is going to be an NHLer on grit alone, but he has an element to his game that some of the defensemen don't.
Well, I mean, bigger point, though, is they've got to answer the question of what Korchinski is here, because I saw a lot of, we've been talking about the draft over the last couple of weeks, and people are like, if they draft a defenseman, I'm going to flip out. They don't have anyone in the system. And if Korchinski is not an NHL defenseman, which you better hope he is because he's a top 10 pick, but, you've got to find out. Because I think if he comes up here and plays 25, 20, however many games it might be, and he still looks like the guy he's looked like so far, I know it's too early to pull the plug on Korchinski's development and his NHL future. We say it all the time. Defensemen take time to develop. That's true. But you can't have only Korchinski and Del Mastro next year be your only call-up choices.
Right.
You've got to start adding high-level defensemen. I mean, we talk all the time about how we really like how Dallas builds their team, because Dallas is always refreshing. When they lose a veteran, they're plugging in a new young player. At some point, the salaries are going to catch up to the salary cap, and if a lot of these guys pan out like you think they're going to, in 4 or 5 years, you might have cap issues again if everything goes correctly. So you've got to have some reserves coming up in the system, and you can't rely on 3rd, 4th, 5th round defensemen draft picks coming up and being NHL players. At some point, you've got to take a true NHL prospect defenseman in the draft, and maybe it's this year. Because you've got forwards coming up. You've got forwards on the cusp.
Well, you have, in theory, 2 first-round picks. One of them could be a defenseman. I mean, if they land in a spot where, the top marquee forwards at the top of the draft are gone, I mean, you could look at Keaton Veroff. You could look at Carson Carrolls. You could look at Chase Reed, Albert Smits. Like, you could look at all those guys and be like, yeah, okay, that's a reload the defensive group type of player. You could be in that spot. I still think, based on where they could land in the lottery and the luck that they could get, I think you still need that top tier forward, because if you look at who they have as forwards, they have a lot of really good players, a lot of guys that do have some top 6 upside, but I'd say that the top 6 upside for a lot of those guys kind of caps out at like second line forwards. Whereas you have Bedard, you have Frondell, like those guys feel like, obviously Bedard, but Frondell feels like a guy that you pencil in as a top line player and a difference maker. So if you add a third player like that, like you really feel really good about your forwards group moving forward, and your defensemen with Renzel and Levshinov and Korchinski still figuring things out, you still have a little bit of time to kind of get to that point where you're like, okay, who are our NHL guys actually, like solidified, no more questions, anything like that. But you're right. You still do need to, as Kyle Davidson has kind of laid this out, you still need to have those waves of players coming through. So I would, if they're going to take a defenseman in the first round, I'd rather it be with the supposed second pick in the first round that they're going to have from Florida, so long as it's not landing in the top 10.
Yeah, that would be ideal. But again, it's all how it shakes out, and it's, I know everyone is hell bent on adding scoring help for Bedard, and I think that's obviously reasonable. We are too, But Frondell was a 3rd overall pick. You expect offensive upside from him. Kancerov's doing really well in Russia, so you've already got Lardis, you've already got Nazar. So you feel decent about some of the forward depth. Do you have a 50-goal guy short of Bedard? Probably not. But you feel like you could build a pretty healthy top 6 with the prospects you have already.
Yeah.
And you still have Bertuzzi, you still have Tavo. I know people are going to roll their eyes, but Burakovsky in a pinch can be a top 6 guy, not an ideal all-star top 6.
Yeah, but they're not parts of the future.
He can play the role, right. Well, sure, but Kancerov and Frondell, and you mentioned Boisvert, and then if we're talking 2-3 years down the road, maybe Mason West, like they're coming. There are more forward prospects. So
yeah, there are. Yeah,
I just Levchinov has to be great, number 2 overall pick. You need that guy to be a hit. He needs to be an all-star level defenseman. Renzel was a later first-round pick, but you feel good about him. Like, I'm just looking 3-4 years down the road and saying, who do I feel are assuredly parts of this thing going forward on the blue line? And it's Vlasic, Levchinov, Renzel, and Kaiser.
Mm-hmm.
And look, you can.
I mean, you got
in 3-4 years, you can add via trade, free agency, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be. No roster's 100% draft picks, but I'm a little concerned about the defensive depth all of a sudden.
Yeah, I mean, you need those guys to find that top tier level that they're supposed to have. Namely with Korchinski. So if he has an opportunity to get to the NHL earlier than post trade deadline, then with Kaiser being out, this is the time for him to get up here. And I think the defensive side of things has always been what he's needed to work on the most. We've seen that over the last few seasons in Rockford, that's been the focal point of what he's been working on. The offense is there. The skating ability is there. That there is something in there to be untapped offensively, but you're not going to survive long in the NHL being just a one-way defenseman. Like, you have to have, you have to have some abilities at both ends of the ice. If you're just a turnstile defensively, it's not going to last long for you. So with Korchinski, I think that's you want to see what he can do at this level in a bigger sample size than a handful of games. So if he can come up earlier because of this injury and prove that he's taken a step in that right direction defensively, then this is a good opportunity for him to do it.
I need more than 2 games on Kevin Korchinski, or more than like a week call up.
Yeah.
To be able to answer that question adequately, because anyone making a jump from, look at Nick Lardis. His first few games as a Hawk were not overly impressive. You saw him catching up with the game, right? And then as he settled in and played a handful of games, you started to see him, okay, now I can play my game. Now I can get back to my instincts. I've sort of caught on to the speed where I need to be. I've played with these guys for a little bit now. So now I feel a little more comfortable and I can show what I've got, at least a flash of what I've got. If they're calling Korchinski up for 2-3 games, it's not doing him any favors. It's not giving them a look. I need to see him for an extended period. And if he struggles and he's bad, I don't want to say so be it, but at least you have a little more clarity on what you can expect from him going forward approaching this draft.
Yeah, you got to get an answer. And whether it's an answer you like or don't, you have to have an answer. So if Kaiser's going to be out for, if they're saying, if Blashill is framing it as, he's not going to be available out of the break. He's not even going to participate in the practices leading up to the games coming back. And he's like, yeah, but he'll play before the end of the year. Like, it's going to be a few weeks. So if it was like, oh, he's not going to be ready for the first game, but we expect him back, 2-3 games or something, you probably just bring up Renzel or Dalmastro and just leave it as a few games. But if you're going to have a longer term thing, I agree. I want it to be Korchinski so he can benefit from having the longer stint, the longer opportunity to play, and then you see what happens March 6th and go from there. It does look like yesterday the IceHogs brought up a defenseman from the Indy Fuel, Jeremy Buechler. So they're expecting to lose somebody. So whether it's Rinzel, Del Mastro, or Korchinski, you have to have somebody up and ready to go. So I hope it's Korchinski, honestly. I think as much as, we've seen Rinzel and he's kind of in a similar boat. I think we've been waiting to see Korchinski kind of take that next step, and I want to see him be able to do it at the next level. Back-to-back years, he's been named an All-Star for the AHL, so, by that measurement, he's been doing well in the AHL, but you want to see how the full-rounded game translates when it goes up to the next level.
Yeah, and I know, defense is a concern, and he hasn't been, necessarily Duncan Keith down in Rockford defensively, but I don't know. I just think it's time. It's time to give him a little more. I think he's been a good teammate about it. He's not moped. He's not complained. We talked to him about it last week in Rockford and just said, how are you getting by? He's like, man, just doing it day by day, and I'm happy to be here. I enjoy my time in Rockford. But I just, it's not, I could see the hesitation of like, if we call him up and he's bad again, we got to really have a hard discussion. But better now before the draft than after.
Yeah,
and say, boy, I wish we would have drafted someone to take his spot.
You're not. I don't think you're drafting a guy this year to replace Kevin Korchinski right away. But yeah, if like I said, like you have to find out what you have with him, and if it's not up to what you would hope, then that you're kind of like working from behind with a guy with where he's at and the development process you want to see from him. And then you have to, even if you have to have a hard situation or a hard conversation, that's professional sports. Like it's not always easy. It's not always, a sunshine path to where you need to go. Like there's going to be challenges. So, if Korchinski ends up, and I'm not putting it in this category, but if it ends up being a miss, for Kyle Davidson, then he's got to figure out how to make that situation better, whether it's, giving him a different opportunity, whether it's, more time in Rockford, whether it's trading him or whatever. You eventually will get to that point. And as we said with, as many times as we've said with this rebuild and the process of getting all these young guys and these prospects, not all of them are going to hit. Not all of them are going to have futures with the Blackhawks. And we can't predict fully who those guys are going to be. I've always thought Kevin Korchinski is part of this group moving forward. I'm not counting him out. I just want to see what he can be as an NHL guy now 3 professional seasons into his career. And as you said, longer than a 2-game stint is necessary to figure that out at this stage of the game.
Lord Hossa says, this is why I still don't get moving Noah Allen for so little. I think having him here would have taken even the slightest amount of pressure off. And we can go back and look at that too. Hindsight's 2020, but even Laurent Brossoit being part of things now with Berezhnoy being out. Neither of those guys has played a game for the Sharks, Noah Allen or Laurent Brossoit. But you're right. Having Noah Allen here is at least another piece you can plug in at the NHL. And again, we talked about this the other show. Yes, you appreciate Kyle Davidson doing well by a player to give him a better opportunity. I get that, but at some point we got to stop being nice and just do what's best for the Blackhawks.
Yeah, I think having these guys around, it with Allen in the mix, it just gave you more options. And I think to the statement of, keeping the pressure off, yeah, that's one thing, but I think you also got to, at some point, put some pressure on and allow those guys that are still here, allow them to operate with the idea that, like, hey, like, it's kind of getting to a point now with this group of players that like decisions are going to be made. And if you're, if it's not here, you're going to have to figure it out somewhere else. And not to say that I don't think Nolan Allen could have figured it out here. I just think as we looked at the young defenseman, he always was towards the bottom of the list of guys you would expect to be in the NHL and be part of things long term. The organization maybe felt the same way. If they're just like, well, we got to figure things out with Levshinov and Runzel and Korchinski and Del Mastro and Allen, and we don't think Allen is going to jump those guys, so let's give him a different opportunity. That could have been what it came down to. But then it also signals to the rest of those guys in that conversation, like, hey, there's less of you to compete with, so now one of you has to go out, or all of you have to go out, really, and take that opportunity. Like the roster opportunities are thin for some of these guys, especially defensemen. There's only 6 of them. And the list of guys that are going to fill that spot are just getting chopped down in one way, shape, or another. So if you want to be here, part of this group in the NHL with the Blackhawks, like now is kind of that crunch time for some of these defensemen to kind of get to those levels that they're expected to be at.
The Runzel element's interesting too, because you would think when they resume play next week that Artem Levshinov's in a lineup. You would hope so. He's had almost a month off now, between games. Hopefully, and I know he was working out over the break. He was training. He was working on hockey. A lot of the teammates, the Hawks, published a post about this today about what everybody was doing, and Vlasic getting engaged, Kaiser engaged, lots of guys golfing, etc. And Artem Levshinov was on the ice working out with players in an unofficial capacity. So that you want to see that. That's great. But if they call up Runzel, that would indicate to me, unless they're moving Murphy immediately, that would indicate to me that Levshinov is not playing again. Because you're not going to have Sam Runzel sitting here not playing. They're not going to sit Louis Crevier.
Right, yeah.
So,
well, you had Runzel in for Levshinov while he was here.
Yep.
I mean, you could still have 7 defensemen with Kaiser out and bring up Runzel and Korchinski or Del Mastro, and then you'd have 7 guys to kind of choose
who
from.
sits then?
It could be Runzel, could be Levshinov, could be the guy that is the guy on the left. I feel like if Kaiser's out, they're playing one of Korchinski or Del Mastro to be on the left side. And as I forget who pointed out, Tage Harding is a left-handed guy. I wanted to mention that. I just had this conversation yesterday on Twitter too. I don't know why I said he was right shot. But if Kaiser's out, left shot guy comes up, it's Del Mastro or Korchinski, then you have either Runzel or Levshinov in. That's your 6, and then you could still have both of those right shot guys, Runzel and Levshinov, around and available, but you're sitting one of them, or you play 11 and 7. You go that route too.
If
Let's get crazy.
Maybe you waive Sam Lafferty, find a roster spot. I wouldn't be against it, because if those guys are all here, Runzel, Korchinski, Del Mastro, I want them all playing. Obviously, I want Levshinov playing too. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'd be more comfortable with 11 and 7 than one of those guys sitting.
Yeah, you could go that route. Then you're sitting Slaggert and Doc, very likely, and Lafferty, of course. But
yeah,
which I mean,
if you talked about it, man. If you're putting pressure on,
if you want to get those defensemen minutes, I know we like Slaggert, the organization likes Slaggert, but he kind of is what he is. Colton Dock has been recently kind of in and out of the lineup with different situations. I'm not closing the book on his potential in his career, but like it's kind of a time where some of these young guys, you want to see those progressions made, and who's going to step up and take an opportunity, because going into next season, there's going to be more of these young guys that are going to be here, full time or close to full time. And they're going to be pushing the guys that have already been here a season or two. You're talking about likely adding Kanserov. You're going to add Frondel to the mix, Spellacy, Vanacker, possibly Boisvert. Nick Lardis will be up in the NHL next season, full-time, very likely. So these young forwards, as well as the defensemen that we've been talking about, like, things are going to have to, they're going to have to figure themselves out amongst the lineup and the roster and the opportunities. They're going to start getting slim. And, some guys that we've put a lot of time and thought and conversation into in their development and really are going to come up short.
All right, we're going to find out in very short order. Hawks back at practice tomorrow, officially back. Everyone should be there, aside from Tavo, I would assume. We'll be on as soon as that's over. We'll talk to you at 3 tomorrow on CHGO Blackhawks.
We all silly like the mayor.